All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Got a special guest, got a special stud muffin for you guys today. I got my guy Isaiah. Isaiah's been in the program for almost 6 months now and had some absolutely insane results that we're going to get into in the interview. But Isaiah, I don't want to steal your thunder, man. Really want to hand it over to you. Kind of give a little intro on yourself, maybe where you went to high school, where you're from, because it is kind of rare for context. Isaiah's from Hawaii, so a little bit different than most guys in the program, obviously. So give yourself a little intro, and yeah, man, happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm from Kaneohe, Hawaii. I went to high school, or I graduated from Castle High School in Kaneohe, and currently playing JUCO at Southwestern Oregon as a sophomore. And I'm a right-hand pitcher.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to kind of go back a little bit because we got on a call, obviously, like our first call together was a really long time ago. So I want to touch on a little bit kind of where you were at before the program. Whether you want to touch on velocity, kind of your mindset, and looking into training, kind of where you were at before you hopped in.
Okay, well, I just want to go back to high school. So I was actually one of the top pitchers in Hawaii my freshman year.
Mhm.
Um, Played a lot of summer ball, ended up getting hurt, tore my UCL. And then I got Tommy John, so that left me out for my sophomore and junior year. And then right at the end of my senior year, I was able to at least close for my team.
Mhm.
And that just left me with um, just a lot of doubt in myself. And uh, it was just hard because there wasn't many schools that wanted me because um, I got hurt pretty early in my career. And but thankful to Coach Deutsch for giving me the chance to play at his in his program at Southwestern Oregon. And I'm gonna be honest, my first year in JUCO it wasn't that good. Um,
Mhm.
Probably had like a 9 ERA my freshman year. Wasn't throwing that hard, probably like 83, 84. Um, and so towards the end I kind of figured it out. Leave the zone again. And then that just got me really hyped and motivated. So going into that summer after my freshman year, I just really wanted to go. I found him on Instagram and I shot him a text and then he was happy to help. Um so we just kept talking and talking and yeah, we messaged each other on Instagram. Um Told my parents about him and they were glad that I found somebody that wanted to help me. So uh we took our chances on Dylan and Dylan ended up helping me a lot in my sophomore year. So I'm probably like one of the top pitchers now in my conference. Probably in the whole NWAC, which is the league I'm in right now. Um I ended up becoming the ace pitcher on my team. So So I'm very grateful to have Dylan on my side.
Yeah, dude, you're the man. I appreciate you saying those things, and yeah, like we were speaking back and forth on Instagram for a little bit, and then eventually got on the call with the whole fam, which was awesome. And I think like one of the things on the call too was like, you just from your freshman year, like I just feel like I'm better than this was like kind of the main thing that I got from our conversation. And that you were just like, I just feel like I don't know. Kind of sounded like you were like, I don't really know where to go from here. Like you're like, I know I'm better, but I don't really know what to do. Can you kind of touch on the things that you felt like you needed to work on maybe before you hopped in the program? That maybe some things you were kind of trying on your own.
So the major problem I had my freshman year was mostly just confidence and just mental strength. I just felt like every time I went out on the mound, I would just start hyperventilating. Like I'd start thinking about mechanics, start thinking about how hard I'm throwing, and I felt like everybody expected something out of me, and that and that was just a lot of pressure for me because I haven't played in so long, so I think that was a big thing that Dylan has helped me out with. So but other than the mental side of it, the physical part, Um, yeah, this program has helped me a lot. I gained about like probably 10 pounds, 20 pounds. Um, I gained a lot of strength. I ended up gaining a lot of velo. I hit my first 90 this year. And and yeah.
Yeah, man. And like when we're gonna go really in depth on some of those things in a little bit, but yeah, I mean the first 90 is obviously like really really cool, especially because as you said, like first year in JUCO like 83, 84, so like hitting 90 is obviously like unbelievable. One of the things I want to ask you is kind of like what specific adjustments did we make that you felt like were like this was kind of what kind of pushed the needle. Obviously we had gained a lot of weight and we did some things mechanically, but for you, like from your perspective, what do you feel like specific adjustments that we made that you were like, oh dude, this is what's doing it?
So the first thing was that was probably my mechanics. So all my life, people have told me that my mechanics were perfect. And you're probably the only one that was able to critique it and tell me like, "Oh, you're doing this wrong. Like this is not good. You got to start doing this better." And um and that's what I really liked about your program. You're just straightforward. Like you just wanted me to be better and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think absolutely, dude. Like, I'm always going to be honest with you guys. I think one of the things I noticed, like for you in particular, was the drift towards home plate really wasn't there. So we wanted to make sure we addressed that because obviously they're only seeing like this part of you right now, but you're a pretty big kid. So it was like, you're just not using your body right now. Like, there's a ton of potential here. And that's what I told you I think on our like first onboarding call. I was like, dude, there's a lot here. Like, we just need
Yeah.
to fix a couple minute things in a sense. And I told you from the beginning, I was like, it's going to take time. Like, this isn't something that's going to like instantaneously fix everything. One of the things that I want to touch on too was we had a call, I want to say it was either the winter or maybe the end of the fall, where you sent me over some Trackman stuff and we looked over it together. And I think on the call, you didn't expect me to have the response I had, where I was like, this is like ridiculously good. I was like, if we can just make some changes and get the velocity up, like I think we're in a really good spot for D1. And I remember you just being there like, wait, really? And I was like, yeah. So I don't know if you want to talk about like that call for you, if you remember it, but like that call really sticks out to me in your program.
Yeah, that I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the slider, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, in the fall I thought I had no chance at D1 because I thought D1 was like you gotta throw like 95 to like 100 or something like that. But when you told me that the movement on my slider like was it 20 inches?
Yeah.
Like that just got me hyped. You saying that I can go to like any D2 I wanted, like that just got me hyped and that was just good to hear before my season because that probably gave me a lot of motivation. Um and yeah,
Yeah, and I think, I mean, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the reason it resonated so much is because I've always been super direct with you, right?
yeah,
Even if it's like negative. So when you had that where I was like, this is legit, dude. And I think the exact words I used was like, this slider is friggin' elite. If we can just get your velocity up, like we're in a really, really good spot. And like I remember your face was like, holy shit, like that's sick, right? And it's just, I think it's because I've just been so direct with you in the program. I think if I was always kind of like just saying everything's great, you hear that and you're like, "Ah, I don't really know if that's the truth, right?" And
yeah.
then now, right, we get our velocity up, we've hit our first 90. We have a 1.47 ERA at the moment in your conference, which is ridiculous. You're top 10 in ERA in the conference. I don't even know if you know that. But the second thing right after that, we hit 90, and like 2 weeks later, we throw in a no-hitter. Talk me through that game. Like, how did that feel?
So I don't know. That day just felt like probably it just didn't feel real. Like I didn't know I was throwing a no-hitter till they pulled me out.
Mhm. Which is the
But
best way to throw a no-hitter. It's how exactly how it should
yeah.
happen.
But in the back of my mind, I kind of knew I was kind of dealing. So, but just right, we were on a probably like a 5 game losing streak. So, um, I just had to get the boys fired up. So that day I was like, something's got to change. And then I don't know. I just all my stuff were working. Change up, slider, fastball. I was just filling up the zone really well. Um, yeah, just everything was just working, and when everything's working, I just put my best.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think too that the viewer doesn't know is like the week before was probably your worst outing of the year, which for you, like a bad outing compared to some other cats is like not really that bad. But I think also like you touched on at the beginning of this, like freshman year at JUCO, you went out on the mound, it was like a ton of pressure. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. And then you have a bad outing. We kind of text back and forth about it, and I'm like, you're gonna be all right. And then the next week, you're so mentally strong now that you just throw in no, which I think is like it shows your progress. Like that's incredible, dude. Because like a year ago, that's not possible, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's just awesome. Um, I want to ask a little bit for anyone watching, like, what has your experience been like inside of the program? Like maybe walk someone through kind of like a sample day for you, like inside of the program.
So the program gives me a lot. It gives me everything from mobility, strength training, um, to throwing programs. So, usually how it goes for me on a typical day, I try to start it out with the lift in the morning. So Dylan just sends me a lift that I do from the program, pitches in, and then after that I probably go eat. Um, then we have practice, and then I just read off what Dylan gives me on the throwing program of that day, and then I run through that, and then he gives me a lot to do during practice, probably like some plyo work, um, some mobility work too, which we work on heavily because at first my mobility wasn't that good in the beginning of the program, but I do feel like I've become a lot more mobile with the mobility I've been doing that Dylan's been giving me. And then and that's pretty much it right there. Just-
Yeah, 100%. And then I do want to touch on something too, because you said like previously you sent your mechanics to people or you've talked to people and nobody's had anything like really feedback to give you. It's just like your mechanics look great. And you're like, I don't think so. Right. So when you get in the program and I send you over the entire plan and it's pretty extensive, were you at all like overwhelmed or like, holy shit? Or were you just kind of like, finally?
yeah, I was like finally like let's go. I finally got a guy that knows what's wrong with me, like a guy that actually wants to help me, you know. And then yeah, I was just super hyped after seeing that first week sent out to me. Um, it was just great to have a finally have a routine that was only catered for me and that that was specifically for me to improve myself, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I've said this a million times. Pitching is one of one, right? Like what makes you better isn't going to make somebody else better. It needs to be for you specifically. Speaking on that, who do you think this program is for, right? If there's somebody watching this right now and they're like, well, like Isaiah, this sounds great, but like I'm not you, right? So like who do you think this program is for?
To be honest, I feel like this program is great for anybody. Like as you said, like pitching's 101. Like everybody has their own struggles, and I feel like that you're probably the best guy to reach out to because you just cater, you just have a whole entire program just for every single person, you know, like just specifically for every single person. And I feel like anybody from like probably like high school, like even though if you don't throw that hard, like this guy's the real deal, you know. This guy will change your life. And even if you're probably like probably the best pitchers, I think there's always room for improvement, you know, like there's guys probably in the major leagues, like yeah, they got into the major leagues, but they still need to improve, you know. And then but yeah, I do feel like this program is great for anybody from even if you're not that good or even if you're probably the best pitcher in the world. There's always room for improvement, I feel like. And yeah.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you so much. And I think that that's true. And I think that's why you had such results in the program is because you have that mindset of like, no matter like when in 4 years, like your name gets called in the draft, you're not going to be a guy who's like, all right, I'm good now. I think you're always looking for the next thing, which I think is the best. My one question for you too is like, obviously you kind of say like the program's for everybody, which is great. But there might be a kid right now watching this who thinks that like, oh, it's like a couple of drills that I'm going to gain velocity in like 6 days. Like for a kid who's watching it like that, like what would you say to him and like what it actually takes to have the insane results that you have?
Well, for me, um, I think it's consistency. Um, like yeah, you might have like one mechanic that could probably give you like probably like 2 miles per hour, but you won't gain anything more than that if you're not consistent with your work ethic, if you're not serious about it, if like for me, like I had a lot of things going on in my life, like oh I want to go hang out with my friends, I want to go to the beach,
Mhm.
but this last summer I had to really lock in because this is probably the last chance for me, you know. And for
Mhm.
all those kids that are watching, like it's better to start working now. And you'll always have those friends with you, you know. Um, but you always have to have your priorities straight. Like always thinking about the main goal, you know. But yeah, nothing's given. You always gotta work for it, I feel like. Um, and yeah, that's what I feel about it.
100%, dude. I would completely agree. I think there are times where you need to take it, as seriously as possible. And I think that's what it's going to take in order to play at the level that you want to play at and most people desire to play at. I do want to ask you one thing because you've never done online training before. Kind of like what was your beliefs before you hopped in? Whether it was, a positive one where it's like, I think this could really help, or even a negative one where it's like, how is this going to work with some guy online, right? So I kind of want to touch on that a little bit.
So, um, so I always believed that I always had to have somebody watching me pitch, you know? Because like how are you gonna see like the movement? How are you gonna see like how the player moves during the game, like how they think, how their mentality is or stuff like that. But what I learned is that you, you can probably get a better analysis over a camera because there's all this technology, you can do slow-mo, you can um like for my school we got TrackMan, which is a
Mhm.
big help for me. Um so I just send Dylan my TrackMan data, um, and we just run through the slow-mo on there, and uh, and yeah.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think it is rare to have a junior college that has a trackman. So I want to make sure that that's very clear. But it is like, it does make it such a seamless process that you have that. And we've gone over it, so many times of just like pitch design and the video itself. And this is really good. And like this needs some work. And I think that's been super, super beneficial. So before hopping in, did you have any, but outside of, maybe you needed somebody like in person at all, did you have any other sort of things where you're like, I don't know if this is really going to work? Or were you pretty much like, this is what I need?
Well, at the point I was at, I just had nobody, um, and just looking at all of your videos on Instagram, I just knew that you're probably one of the top guys to reach out to because it just seemed like you just wanted to help people, you know? You just wanted to help pitchers improve. So, um, that's what really caught me right there. Um, because I've always had like a lot of pitching coaches, you know, but I've never had anybody that would be like straight up to me, you know. And I felt like you're that guy. And just from messaging you, I just knew. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's super rare, dude. I think like, I kind of want to touch on that a little bit because I don't think everybody like I think I think that's very rare for you to have that level of certainty before really if you're like hopping in the program. So like what did that for you? Like what did you see in the content or what did you kind of feel in the messaging where you were like so certain that like this was the place for you?
Well, at that time it was just I was just I was just craving to become better. So I wanted to try out something new. And then I always see these videos on YouTube like tread athletics and stuff like that, how they do all those breakdown stuff. And I wanted to try that on myself, so and I saw that you do those breakdown videos, which you do every week, and then and yeah, I think it's pretty cool that you can break down like from the little things like how you saw my drift wasn't that good, my lead leg block. Um, so I just thought that was really cool and yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I do want to ask you then, like, obviously, like, there are other people who make, like, breakdown videos, like Tread Athletics, for example. Why did you feel like it was me that was, like, the best fit for you?
Well, first off, I caught you at like when you just started like you just started growing and I thought like if somebody like this is like really trying hard um to grow his business, then you'd probably be the prime person to go with because you're also trying to become better yourself and I'm trying to become better.
Mhm.
And and I and I really like that right there, so I thought you were the best option for me.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that a lot. And speaking on that, right? Like when you did hop in, the business was just growing, and now, we have a way more guys in the program than when you first started. Do
Yeah.
you feel, touch on that a little bit, like do you feel like there's a difference at all, or has it been like pretty much consistent for you even
Oh,
with the
it's
growing?
been consistent for me. Like you still reach out every day and I still tell you everything and you always give me some tips after every outing if I need help with this certain thing with school, like reaching out with schools, which we're about to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, you've been a major help.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude. It's really, I say this all the time, but it's really kudos to you and all the work you put in and the communication, right? Communication's a two-way street, right? So if you don't communicate, you wouldn't have these results, right? It's the fact of how on top of things you are. Would you recommend this program to somebody?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you want to get better, I think this is the best program that you can go into. Like if you're serious about playing baseball, if you're serious about pitching, if you want to go to the next level, I feel like this is the best program you can go into.
1,000%. Again, dude, I can't appreciate you enough for doing this, and I think that like what you hit on is if you're serious. I think that's like the big word there because like it's clear throughout this interview how serious you are about this, and I think some athletes aren't, and if they're not, this isn't the place. But if they are somebody like you, I think it is 1,000% the place, and maybe that's me being very proud of the program itself. But like, again, I can't thank you enough for doing this. While we kind of have the camera rolling here, is there any last thing you kind of want to say either about the program or anything in general?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Sweet. Where can they find you? If they're, because I think they're, with the online space, they might think that you're not a real human being. This might be AI for some reason. So where can they find you?
Just look up my name and you'll see me on all the NWAC rankings and you'll see how much this program has helped me. And you probably find me on Twitter. Just search up my name. Look me up on Instagram. I'm on there too. Um, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Again, I can't thank you enough for doing this interview. I think, when I started this and started calling you guys kind of stud muffins, I didn't think I had like a character in mind, but if there was one, I think it would 1,000% be you, dude. So I think it's been a privilege to work with you, and I'm excited to see where things keep going from here. If you want to be a stud muffin, like I always say, like Isaiah, you can click the link down below and book a call with us. But Isaiah, I can't thank you enough, man, for doing this interview, and you're the best.
Yes, sir.